Happy Halloween, everyone, and welcome to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and obviously by my outfit, you can tell today is Halloween, but this is also the 175th episode of Sports Corner. Thanks for tuning in to this segment for the past 3.5 years. Anyways, let's jump right in. Starting with the MLB, this has been one of the most iconic World Series in history. In Game 1 last Friday, Addison Barger launched the first pinch-hit grand slam in World Series history. Alejandro Kirk added a 2-run homer in a 9-run 6th inning, and the Toronto Blue Jays overwhelmed the defending champion Los Angeles Dodgers 11-4 in the World Series opener. Game 2 went pretty much the exact opposite. Yoshinobu Yamamoto went the distance for a second straight start, pitching all 9 innings and giving up just 1 run on 105 pitches as the Dodgers even the World Series at a game apiece with a 5-1 win over the Blue Jays on Saturday night. Max Muncy and Will Smith each hit solo home runs in the 7th inning to build the Dodgers' lead. While Games 1 and 2 were exciting, nothing compares to Game 3. This game featured 18 innings over 6 hours and 39 minutes, 609 pitches, 130 at-bats, 19 different pitchers, 5 home runs, Shohei Ohtani being intentionally walked 4 times, and even Clayton Kershaw on the mound. This was tied for the longest game in postseason history, and it only ended when Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 18th inning as the Dodgers outlasted the Blue Jays 6-5. The only other series contest to go 18 innings was Game 3 at Dodger Stadium 7 years ago. Here's a rundown of all the records that were broken that night. Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam in Game 1 of the World Series last year. Freeman's 2 postseason walk-off home runs are tied for the most in postseason history, with David Ortiz, Carlos Correa, and Bernie Williams. Freeman is the only one with 2 in the World Series. The Dodgers now have 4 walk-off World Series home runs. That ties the Yankees for the most, and no other team even has 2. The 19 combined pitchers used were the most in a game in postseason history. The 609 pitches thrown were 48 more than any other postseason game since at least 2000. As I mentioned, the game took 6 hours and 39 minutes, the second longest in postseason history by time, behind 7 hours and 20 minutes in that 2018 game I mentioned earlier. There were 37 combined runners left on base, 6 more than any other game in postseason history. And yet again, there's Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani reached base 9 times, setting a postseason record, surpassing the previous mark by 3. That also tied the MLB record for any game, and only 3 other players in history have reached that mark. Ohtani had 4 extra base hits in his first 4 plate appearances. That tied for the most extra base hits in a World Series game, joining Frank Isbell in 1906 Game 5. 2 of those extra base hits were home runs, the 3rd time this postseason Ohtani has hit multiple in a game. He's the first player with 3 multi-homer games in a single postseason. Ohtani had 12 total bases, a mark he also reached in the NLCS Game 4. He's the first player with multiple games with at least 12 total bases in a single postseason. The only other player with 2 such postseason games in a career is Babe Ruth. Lastly, Ohtani is up to 8 home runs this postseason, tying 2020 Corey Seager for the most in a single postseason in Dodgers history. While it wasn't as exciting, Game 4 was arguably more important than the dramatic Game 3. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a 2-run homer off Ohtani in the 3rd inning, Shane Bieber pitched a 4-hit ball into the 6th, and Toronto got back on track with a 6-2 victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers on Tuesday night. The series was all tied up at 2-2, heading into Game 5 on Wednesday. In that Game 5 on Wednesday, 22-year-old Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Trey Yesavage set a World Series rookie record with 12 strikeouts. On top of that dominant performance on the mound, Toronto hit the first back-to-back homers to begin a game in World Series history when Davis Schneider and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. connected on the 1st and 3rd pitches of the game to jump out to a 2-0 lead in the blink of an eye. From there, it was pretty much all Toronto as they won Game 5 on the road 6-1. The Blue Jays now lead the series 3-2, and they're 1 game away from a World Series title. Game 6 of this incredible series will be tonight at 5 p.m. on Fox, back in Toronto. If needed, and as a fan I hope it is needed, Game 7 will be tomorrow, also at 5 p.m. on Fox. So, no matter what, by Sunday we will have a World Series champion. With all the excitement of the World Series, we can't forget we are officially at the halfway mark of the NFL season, and Week 8 was another good one. Tua Tagovailoa threw a season-high 4 touchdown passes, and the Miami Dolphins ended their 3-game losing streak by dominating the short-handed Atlanta Falcons 34-10. The Jets finally got their first win of the season in a dramatic comeback against the Cincinnati Bengals. James Cook ran for a career-high 216 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Bills finally played to their potential with a 40-9 win over the Carolina Panthers. The Broncos scored a staggering 44 points and defeated the Dallas Cowboys. And, to end the day, Aaron Rodgers' first ever game against the Green Bay Packers came up as a loss as Green Bay defeated the Steelers 35-25 on Sunday night. I had a not so great week with my picks last week, going just 1-3, bringing me to 21-7 on the season. Let's hope this week goes a little bit better than the last. For the halfway mark week 9, I'll go with the Packers to continue their dominant streak with a win over the Panthers, the Pats to make it 6 wins in a row when they take on the Falcons, the Broncos also to make it 6 straight wins with a victory over Houston. My upset pick of the week, the Giants to beat the 49ers. Since we are officially halfway through the season, here's another look at the current playoff picture. If the season were to end today, it's a tightly contested race, and each win and loss shuffles up this list dramatically every week. A lot of people I've spoken with day to day about this season have agreed there truly isn't a true dominant frontrunner for the Super Bowl this season. The Colts and Packers have the best records, but the Bucs, Seahawks, Broncos, Patriots, Chargers, Chiefs, Steelers, Jaguars, Rams, Lions, Bills, etc., all have looked like top teams, but also bottom teams at times this season. I think the second half of this year is going to be electric. With that in mind, it's time to check in on my preseason playoff predictions and see where I'm at. In the AFC, I predicted the 7 playoff teams would be the Bills, Texans, Ravens, Broncos, Chiefs, Bengals, and Patriots. I'm looking good with 4 of those picks, although I couldn't have known Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson would go down with injuries. However, the Ravens still have a shot at a late playoff push. The Texans are just not looking great, so I expect them to miss the postseason this year. In the NFC, my 7 playoff teams were the Lions, Buccaneers, Eagles, Rams, Commanders, Packers, and I already regret this one, but the Carolina Panthers. 5 of those 7 picks are looking great so far. The Commanders have been banged up this season, but still could sneak into the playoffs later on. The Panthers were just flat out a bad pick by me, I'll admit it. We'll just have to wait and see how the remaining 9 weeks play out. With all that said, enjoy your Halloween and all the sports that this weekend has to offer. Don't forget the time changes this weekend as well. Thank you for joining me on the 175th episode of Sports Corner, and I'm looking forward to the future 175 episodes. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.